Hey fam, welcome to the Highest and Best podcast with Erica and Stevie. This is episode 3, and we are going to be talking about creating boundaries with clients. Oh my God.
I am so excited for this topic.
Me too.
Because it's kind of a tough one. It's hard to set boundaries, especially if you're a new real estate agent.
If you're building, you have no boundaries usually, right? You're just...
Oh, I literally was taking any client I could get. I was answering text messages early, late, phone calls, handling fires at, the middle of the night. And it's like, hey, we're not in a life or death. It's not a life or death situation, right? Like it can wait until the morning. So we're excited to bring some tips and share what it is that we do to create boundaries, de-stress.
And not be crazy realtor people.
Yeah. Cause I mean, you had mentioned before how you've gotten yourself burnt out, right?
Oh yeah. I've literally ended up in the hospital, because I was sick. I was mentally so sick. I got physically sick. And when I went in, they were like, you are stressed out. You are burned out. And I was young too. It was in my early 30s. And it just, at that point I realized it's not worth it. It just let me figure out a way to kind of balance all this and still be the best realtor I can be and the best version of Erica I can be. Right.
But I totally get it though. There's just been so many times that you felt so burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed. So it to me, I'm almost like, it's kind of sad. I'm like, oh, I'm not surprised because this job can really drive you into the ground, right? I feel like we're talking so negative about it.
I know. Well,
I swear I love my job.
Yeah, it's, you know what? It's okay. And we have high highs and low lows, right? And so I think no matter where you are at the moment, it's just what it is. And you're going to be on a high probably the next day. So, okay, let's talk about
what are some things that you've done to create boundaries?
Good one. So the best thing I ever did was get a second phone line, because that allows me to walk away from my work phone, which is usually on me, 20 hours a day. It's literally always there. But, where it counts is let's say I want to go on a walk or something, or I want to whatever, you don't want to not have a phone, right? Because that's not safe all the time. True. Or, you just whatever. So I invested in a second phone line. It was an extra $50 a month. But, when I need a moment, I can just take my work phone and set it down and then, walk away and do whatever I want to do uninterrupted. And I think that's really what matters because if I'm, oftentimes, right, you're on a walk, right, you're having a great walk, everything's fine. And then you get a call, right? And it's you've got to deal with whatever. And I'm not I don't disconnect for more than, 20 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah. So this second phone that you have, the phone number, is that the phone number you have on your business card and all your marketing, your website?
So the second phone line is my private line that my best friends have and my family has, and that's it. No one has it. So the first phone line is the line that I've had since I was, 15 years old. So that's already all over the internet. So I kept that the way it is.
Yes.
But
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's been a really good tool if if you're there yet, just to be able to walk away and, have a moment.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be just probably walking away for 20 minutes, it's not like you're saying super extensive time, but sometimes you just need 15 minutes to collect your thoughts, or at least I do.
Absolutely. And it makes all the difference. And then you come back fresh headed and you're okay, now let's deal with it. What do you do, Stevie? What do you do?
So I don't, we have so many apps on our phones and, with social media and being so active on those platforms, I do not have any notifications turned on my phone unless someone calls or text messages me. I don't even have emails because I am checking my email very often, very regularly, but I don't want to constantly hear these dings. A lot of times it's just junk email. So it's just been so good for me mentally that, you know, if it's something important, somebody probably is texting or calling me about it. So I really, really enjoy that. And I'm actually like, this kind of sounds bad, but I'm not always by my phone. I'm actually pretty bad at it. I'll leave it somewhere, or I'm not attached. And I used to be. And it's kind of funny because with dating John, we were set up through one of his friends, and his friend actually told him, was like, yeah, dude, like, just to let you know, she does a lot on social media. So she's probably attached to her phone and, you know, like obsessive about it. And I was like, oh my God, what a horrible thing for someone to say about me. Yeah. But, John's on his phone way more than I am. Like, we always like talk about it and laugh about it because I hardly have my phone, and I am so good with now, like, putting it away at night and not looking at it until like I'm sitting down and ready to work, you know? So I think I've done really good with that aspect, but obviously it was not always like that.
That's amazing. I need to do that. I'm attached. I'm that person. Like,
yeah,
it's a huge problem.
Well, with Instagram, like I go on there and I love the stories and I love the posts, but it's like, I try to be very selective with my time, and I know how draining and how much Instagram or TikTok or whatever can suck you in. And I really just try to be good with like, I'm going to make that post. And now like, I like time blocking. So, okay, now I need to work on my next thing and not be sucked in on that. So that's been really helpful. Not having those notifications on and not being dinged every 2 seconds is really, really helpful.
Absolutely.
Another thing that's been helpful is just saying no to things that don't serve me or don't feel as valuable. That could be like relationships, certain friendships, not taking overpriced listings can be like extremely, I did that in the beginning, even though I knew, like, I knew like, you're not supposed to do this. It's going to be a waste of time, but I wanted to take whatever I could. But then I realized how much it's not worth it and how it just makes you look like a horrible agent to that client. So saying no to that, working with buyers who only want to exclusively work with you, not volunteering for activities you don't really want to do, and, really putting family before business. And I know it's always a lot easier said than done, right? Like no one's perfect and still struggle with these things, but I try to be very mindful.
Definitely. Yeah. Those are really good ones too, and
especially,
go ahead. No, you go.
Especially like on trips, we were talking about like, how do you set boundaries when you're on vacation, right? Like, how do you handle that?
Yeah. Well, so for me, I just like let everyone know, obviously in advance. And, I'm fortunate enough to have a team that they can rely on. Right. And so if you're a client of mine, if you're a buyer or a seller, you get, you're a part of a group text message with my administrator and then usually one other agent. So between the three of us, someone's going to answer your question or comment like pretty quickly, within 10 minutes or less. And so, but before that though, what I would do, so if like you're a newer agent and you don't have a team yet, I would collaborate with another agent in the office and say, hey, can you cover for me while I'm gone? And I would either pay them like a referral fee on the deal, depending on what it, how involved it was, or I would pay them like a set fee per day, just to cover it all. But, I would email whoever that was before I went, like, okay, these are the notes on Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. These are the notes on this person. This is where this deal is at. That was, when I was newer, but it's just, I think it's so important that you find someone that covers for you and you don't just leave and like tell your clients, sorry, like I'm back in 3 days. Like, I mean, they might need to see that house that day. Right. Because I get calls too, which I'm sure you do too. My agent's out of town. I can't get a hold of them. And it's just kind of awkward. So, definitely collaborate with someone in your office who can cover for you while you're gone.
Yeah. So it sounds like you set yourself up for success with this, right?
Get ahead of it,
There's a,
right?
there's a lot
Yeah.
of prep and time that goes into it, but just, and then also too, I'll add to my email like, hey, I am out of town, even though
Yeah.
clients know ahead of time, but just another little subtle reminder in case an email comes through like, hey, I'm going to be out of town this day and this time. I'm still checking my emails, but please, might be a little lag time there. Right. Have you ever had times though, like even though you did all that you could to prepare while you're on your trip, but then, you're still having to take a call or a client's freaking out. Have you ever had a situation like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I have a saying, like, if you're not busy, go on vacation,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're
Yeah.
like if you're slow and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go on vacation, you'll come back with like 10 new clients, like literally. So usually, and that's the thing too, is like it's more of like the new clients that are coming in, right? And you're on a beach or something, or you're in New
Mm-hmm.
York City or wherever, and so you just make time for that. What I've done is just, respond promptly and just say, hey, I'm on vacation right now. I'm available. Instead of asking them when a good time is to connect, I'll say I'll be available this day between here and here, or this day between here and here. And, you can let me know what works. That's been very powerful in my business, is kind of saying, this is my availability. I never used to do that. I literally would always be like, oh, what works for you? And then I would
Mm-hmm.
just do whatever they wanted.
Right.
So,
Now you got to be like, which day and time? Here's
yeah.
two options that I'm available. You let me know if either one of those work out. I've gotten really good at that too.
Yeah, and that I think that's really helpful in, managing stress and like creating boundaries too. So,
Yeah, you have to.
yeah. So, and then I do, usually when I'm away, I'll get up like early because I'm just addicted to work. I have a problem, and I'll just like get, go on my computer and do my
Oh yeah.
searches or whatever, just kind of get the lay of the land for the day so that I can go and just enjoy the rest of my day and do that. So that's always, and that's actually fun work too. Cause like, maybe you're like at the pool and you're watching the sunrise,
Mm-hmm.
and like, see, I always vacation in Florida or something, somewhere warm. That's where you live. So it's like, you're there all the time, which is fun, but, yeah, just, it's enjoyable work, right? That you can just enjoy where you're at and, maybe have a mimosa and just get some stuff done.
Totally. I
So,
think even though when I'm on vacation too, like I'm still doing some kind of work, and I usually like to just check my emails in the morning
yeah.
and do a couple little follow-ups, something quick, and then I really like to shut it down. But I did recently on a trip this summer, I had a seller who was very high strung, and I remember it was on a weekend, we were out of town, and I was on the beach, and he was texting me, and we were just going back and forth, and he was just so like high strung about not closing on time because they were really needing the money financially and wanted to make sure nothing was going to happen. And it was like the way he was talking to me, and I was so stressed out. I was like, I can't relax here. I was there with John. I was like, I can't relax. Like this guy is just driving me crazy that I ended up calling him. Like I thought about it ahead of time. I was like, I need to be very careful with what I say, but I
Sure.
also need this to stop. It's the weekend. It's not like I did everything I
There's
could
nothing you can
before,
do. Yeah.
on Friday. Yeah. And it's like, I just need to have this conversation with him. And I prepared the conversation and I ended up talking to him. He was like, okay, all right. No, I got it. I trust you. We're cool. I was like, all right, thank you. We hung up. And so I think sometimes you just need to like eat the frog, like just get on the
Mm-hmm.
phone with him, like figure out how
Yep.
you can get them to chill out for the time being until you can get back and making solutions for it. Because it's like, God, it's so unenjoyable. I remember that morning just being so stressed out. And I was like, God, I would just want to enjoy my time out on the beach on my vacation, right? It can be hard.
Yeah, that's great you did that. And it's just like getting in front of it, right? And like grabbing the bull by the horn and
Yes.
saying, you know what? Listen, I understand you're feeling this way. That's okay.
Yes.
There's nothing we can do
Yes.
about it right now. I've got a handle on all of it. And so we're
Mm-hmm.
going to talk on Monday, and we'll take the next step and we'll get to the closing table. Sometimes they just need that like reassurance, right? Someone to
Yes.
just say, I got you. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there physically, but I'm here, mentally and emotionally. So let's talk
Mm-hmm.
later. You know, cause that's a difficult conversation, right? I mean, that's not easy to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to call this person and tell them to basically stop doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I hated it. I was just like, I remember talking to John. I was like, okay, what should I say? Because he's so good at it. He's so good with conversations and stuff like that. So I was taking notes out on the beach, and I'm like, all right, I'm calling this guy. I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah, that's so good. And, you know, you just have to take that difficult step and then it's over with.
Yeah.
You can move on.
Yeah.
What I really love about working with Chris Kemp is that he literally will reply to messages and emails from my clients and I in real time. And that's so important because when you're in a multiple offer situation and you're getting ready to put that offer in and your client wants to know how much their monthly payment is, or can they afford that $30,000 over asking that, you know, they need to write in order to secure the deal, he will literally get right back to you, or someone from his team will get right back to you and get your questions answered. He's been in residential lending now for about 21 years, and he has been just so supportive of everything that me and my team have done. And I just see him support other agents by, you know, having luncheons or supporting their open houses, in all those ways too, which is also really cool. His annual production, you guys, is crazy impressive. He's one of the best in the country at $123 million in loan volume every year with 468 single transactions. Like, holy shit, that's crazy. Hashtag goals, right? So if you guys are looking for a residential lender, Chris Kemp's your guy. He's with Flagstar Bank. He's in the Metro Detroit area, but can do a loan anywhere in the country. Follow him on Instagram. It's Chris Kemp at Flagstar Bank. And yeah, just tell him Highest and Best sent you.
I have a question for you. What do you do to de-stress in this business?
So my bedroom is like a hotel bedroom. Like, I have my weighted blanket, I have my water, I have my lavender.
That's nice.
What is it? Like pillow spray. It's like, who is it by? It's like by European Spa or something. I don't know, but they sell it at spas and you can literally just like spray it on your bed, like, and it makes you fall right asleep. I'm a big fan of the Calm app. I don't know if you guys use that. Yeah. So like the daily Calm, I love doing that every night. It's like a 10-minute meditation. Like, so
yeah, it's super relaxing.
I know it is. So like my wind down is like, I take a shower and like I put a candle on and just put my business phone away. And like, so there's like a slew of events that happen. And then it's like water, weighted blanket. Like,
it sounds so nice.
It is. And then it's like I'm refreshed the next morning and I feel, you know, I don't watch TV before bed. I do go on like Instagram though. That's kind of my thing.
Well, I know you work out. That's got to be really helpful. What kind of workouts do you do?
It is. Yeah. I loved Pilates. That's one of my favorites. And I love like high intensity interval training. There's a place here locally in the Metro Detroit area called Lean Body Studio. And it's really cool because it's created for women. So it's all women and it's like dark in there, like, which I love too, because like, you know, sometimes you don't want to be like flopping around in the, you know, in like the daylight. And yeah, it's a 45-minute workout. So it's like done and fast. And, you know, you can burn like anywhere from 300 to 500 calories in one session. So I do that 2 to 4 days a week, depending. And I'm a member of a local gym with like, you know, they have a sauna and, you know, spa. So that's like my me time. So yeah. How about you?
Gosh, I feel like working out is the way to go. Like putting my phone away and I'm like, I need to sweat. And I've been really into the Peloton bike. I've always been into biking. And I even had like, before I made the investment with the Peloton, I was like, I got this cheap bike off of Facebook Marketplace for like $150. I hooked up the Peloton app. You can still use the app, do the live cycling classes and have access to all the workouts. So I had that on my TV. And I was like, if I am consistent with this bike, I will invest and get the Peloton. So I did like 100 or 200 rides. I was like, fine. It broke. It actually broke. And then finally I was like, okay, I think I can make the investment now for this Peloton. So I got that, and I people always ask like, was it worth the money? You know, you had this other bike, and I'm like, yes, it was. It just rides like so much smoother. I love the Peloton. I'd been totally slacking because, you know, I just sold a house, bought a house, and yesterday was my first workout back. And I only did 20 minutes, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm just like starting all over now, right?
Cycling is no joke.
It's so fun. I love it.
Yeah, I struggle. I have a Peloton that I want to sell. So if you're in the Metro Detroit area and you're looking for a Peloton, I made this pandemic purchase, like sitting in my house locked up, and I was like, screw it, I'm just going to get one.
So you just didn't end up loving it? Or
I literally like, I hate it. Like,
oh, wow.
I do. I just like, I don't know why. I think I like thrive off of like other people's energy. So like when I'm alone, like in a room, I just I can't get into it. Like, you know, and it doesn't do it for me. Like, I'd rather go on a walk or like go to this HIIT workout or do the Pilates. Like, but hey,
I love walking so much. And where we just moved, there's just like this perfect 2-mile loop that we do. And I feel like that is just such a de-stressor. During COVID, I feel like I was really stressed during COVID. It was, you know, also everything that was like going on in the world and the unknown, but then also I had like really hard clients during that time. So mentally, I feel like I was holding on by a thread, and I would just go walk for hours. And I was like, that was like, I feel like what literally kept me sane.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, totally. Moving your body, you know, just moving, right? And listening to a podcast or music. I mean, that definitely always helps a lot. Let's talk about, I don't want to say firing clients. Dare I say it that way?
I mean, it's kind of how it is. You just had this experience, right?
Yeah, I did. And it was really wild. I've never in my life had anything like this happen to me in 15 years. But basically the client texted me that, how do I say this? I'm actually going to read it. Because
let's hear it verbatim.
Oh my goodness. So I just don't think I was the right person for the deal, right? Like, and I think it wasn't for me. And so in the text message, she had said that how do I say, where is it? Okay. She didn't feel supported in the deal.
Was she a buyer or seller?
She was a seller, and we walked through her house. I met her. I was referred to her by 3 different people, which is crazy. Like 3 separate people were like, call Erica. So I meet her. Everything's fine. You know, great. Her place is like designer, decorator, perfect. We agreed it didn't need any staging. Great. Scheduled photos, told her, you know, the photography team will be there. I usually don't go to my photography appointments unless the seller requests it, because my team actually prefers me not to be there because there's just more people in the way, right? But if the seller wants me to, I will be. But so she had texted me like a few days before and was like, can you help me move this bookshelf from my office? And I'm like, what do you mean help you move a bookshelf? Like, like physically? I was like, I don't think I can physically, but I can like give you the number of someone that could help you. And she was like, yeah, okay, like that's fine. And then whatever. So I just hung up. And then, you know, a few days later, the photos were like at 11, and she had texted me at like 8 a.m. and said that like she didn't feel supported in the process because she felt that I should have paid to have someone move the shelves from her office to her home because she felt that it was like a staging need. And I'm like, well, we agreed that you didn't need any staging. So, and I generally have a stager that does the staging. It's not like me moving your furniture around. That's not normal. but yeah, just this whole, like, I don't feel supported thing, and it's important. Not that that's not important, but like, it's just a lot to text that like 2 hours before something's happening. And, so I just said, I text her back and I just said, I have a few concerns myself, and I think it's best we cancel the photos today and pause our professional relationship right now. And I certainly don't want you to feel unsupported or unhappy, so perhaps it's best you interview with a few other agents. And she agreed. So I felt good and she felt good. So
yeah,
that was it. It just was a little crazy. It was like, I could only imagine like the stress of there's a showing. Where are you? Why are you late? Why aren't they here? I could tell like the personality vibes between the two of us were just not going to mesh. And like, I just thought like, you know what, like, I'm just going to cut this right here because it's not going to end up good for either me or her. Right. Cause she's unhappy and then she tells everyone she's unhappy and I'm unhappy. And so that lesson that taught me is just like, which I don't really do that. Like I usually will just take it on and figure it out. I normally probably would have ran over to her house and dropped my whole day and just been like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like here, what do you need? And I just thought like, no, like this isn't okay. Like I can't, this is 2 hours. Like I have a full day booked already. So I don't know.
I feel like I usually don't realize someone is the way they are until after we're like under contract. And it's like, all right, now I just got to get us through this.
Yeah, you're already there.
But it's like, if I would have known, I would not have taken them as a client. It's usually like too late,
Well, because like for every bad client, right, that maybe you don't jive with, there's like 10 others that like you jive with and it's easy and it's fun and like you love them and they love you. Like no one wants to be involved in situations where, because that, I mean, listen, when you sign with someone, it's a month, 3 months, 6 months sometimes, right? Like, so, that was really difficult for me to do, but I'm proud of myself and I felt so much better after. And I think I said it in a way. That's what matters. Yeah. Like, I think I said it in a way where, she was like, great. She was like, oh my gosh, that's great. Like, and I'll, and she said like, I'll keep you posted. And I'm like, lose my number, but
that's okay. So I think a couple other things that helps with creating boundaries is, setting the right expectations to your client. A lot of times I'll say like, well, I will ask like, how do you prefer to communicate? So I know, usually the conversation goes better when I'm communicating with them on the way that they like. But I also, and people have gotten I've never had any issues with this. Like if someone now like calls or texts me at, at 7 even, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, I could answer. Like, let's say I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, I could answer right now, but I'm not going to. Like, this is a boundary I'm creating because I know if I message them back now, tomorrow, they're going to message me. And the day after, if I keep giving into this. So usually like at night, I'm just like, I will wait. And I feel like that helps to set the expectation and saying, responding immediately the next morning, when I'm working, like, good morning, I got your message last night, and then answering, their question. So I think that's really, really helpful, and just being honest and forthcoming about the expectations. It's not like you're being rude or disrespectful or anything. Everyone has a life and everyone is busy and has other things going on. And I feel like even in our business, like it's acceptable. Obviously there's times like, a couple of weeks ago, a buyer reached out to me that they wanted to look at a property at 4:30. And I was like, okay, I'm looking it up. MLS says highest and best by 7. And they're like, okay. And we already had dinner reservations. So I knew I couldn't do it. So I got someone on my team to do the showing. Yeah. And then the buyers were late. They didn't get there till 5:30. So, cause I was thinking, okay, 4:30. I remember we were like on the phone and I was like, I was trying to figure it out.
You're trying to make it happen, right? Yeah.
I'm like, I'm supposed to be getting ready right now, but obviously this is important. So I got a buyer's agent to get out there to do the showing. And then of course, like they were late. And then of course I told them, I'm like, we need to get this in. I need to draft up. It's 10 pages along with all the addendums. And so Yeah. And I was like, and I need your pre-approval for
Oh
this
no.
amount. So I was telling them all this. They didn't call me until probably 6:30, and I was at dinner. I stepped outside to take the call, and I was talking to them. Now I'm having to go through everything, like the entire offer, all the terms. I had brought my laptop to dinner, and I was doing it at dinner just so I could meet this deadline for 7. And so, that was a time that I feel like I couldn't create a boundary. Like it was
Yeah,
very time
for
sensitive,
sure.
and they would have ditched me if I didn't. So I think there are situations like that where you do have to be accommodating.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing too, right? That's just part of our job, right? So,
Right.
I,
So it's kind of funny when
yeah.
agents say like, "Oh, I'm getting in the business because it's so flexible." It's like,
Ugh.
not always, okay? It's not always flexible.
When I hear
You're on
that, I'm
other
just
people's
like,
time.
oh God. It's,
Oh boy.
yeah. I mean, it is flexible and it's not flexible, right? Like you have to just be prepared
Yeah.
to get it done, and that's what we do. The first time I, went to dinner with my husband, like at our club, and it was like the special thing. Like he'd always wanted to be a part of a golf club. And I was sitting there like negotiating an offer, and I was walking away from the
Yeah.
table like every 10 minutes. And that's just what we do, right? That's not our client's fault, right? So, but
Right.
it's like if there's like a mutual respect and like,
Mm-hmm.
then fine, great. I'll happily do it for you. But if you're like gonna walk all over me and tell me, you know what I mean? Like not be reasonable, and it's like this is not gonna
It's
work
not going
out.
to fly.
Yeah. So cool.
Well, I feel like we gave a lot of
Yeah.
really good suggestions on creating boundaries. So thank you guys so much for listening. Definitely follow us on Instagram at highest and best. And yeah, anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, that's it. Comments, questions, send them in to our DMs. We're listening. So
All right, guys, we'll
toodles.
see you on the next one.
Bye.